Welcome to Forbidden Texts. What you are about to see may shock you. It may surprise you, but will definitely challenge everything you thought you knew. Stick around until the end to discover the forbidden knowledge that they don't want you to have.
They look at you differently now. Strangers linger a little longer. Friends pause mid-sentence. People you haven't spoken to in years suddenly reach out. You haven't told anyone what's happening. But they feel it. Something's shifting. Something just under your skin, radiating out. It's not in your words. It's not in your eyes. It's in your field. Welcome to Forbidden Texts, where we explore ancient knowledge and forgotten wisdom. This isn't a phase. It's not a vibe. What you're feeling, those subtle jolts of awareness, the quiet unraveling of everything you used to believe, that's the beginning of the unraveling. The system is cracking from the inside, and your aura is the first to bleed light through. A spiritual awakening doesn't announce itself. It doesn't tap politely on your shoulder. It crashes. It burns. It undoes. And the first thing to shift isn't your thoughts. It's your frequency. Before you even understand what's happening, your energetic signature starts broadcasting at a different wavelength. And the world responds. Your aura, the electromagnetic field that surrounds your body, isn't just a mystical idea. It's real, measurable, and reactive. And during an awakening, it changes color, intensity, and texture. But more importantly, it changes impact. You walk into a room and the air thickens. Your presence lingers like smoke. People might not know what's different, but they know something's different. Some are drawn in like moths. Others pull away instinctively, uneasy. Because when your energy shifts, theirs has to react. And not everyone's ready to face themselves in your reflection. This transformation is contagious. Not because you're preaching, but because your field is louder than your voice. It disturbs the stagnant. It activates the dormant. And it exposes the fake. You'll start noticing it too. The way your intuition sharpens. The way you can feel someone's mood before they open their mouth. The way certain people start to drain you, and others seem to charge your spirit just by standing close. But what is this force? How can a silent, invisible field hold so much power? And why does it get stronger when you start waking up? Stick around. By the end, you'll understand why the world starts to react to you like it does, and what that really means for who you're becoming. There's more to your aura than a soft glow in a New Age painting. It's layered, dynamic, and alive, shaped by every thought you think, every wound you carry, every intention you set. What most people call vibe is actually a complex spectrum of frequencies your body emits constantly. Your aura is a field of electromagnetic energy, and just like a radio signal, it broadcasts, whether you know it or not. During a spiritual awakening, that signal shifts. Not slightly, radically. You go from playing on AM to broadcasting in surround sound. And suddenly, people who used to match your frequency no longer can. That's why relationships break down. That's why you feel disconnected from crowds, drained in certain environments, nauseous in places you once felt fine. Your aura is shedding its old skin, recalibrating. It happens in layers. The etheric layer, closest to the body, tightens, sharpens, becomes more reactive. You'll feel physical sensations that don't come from your body. Buzzing in the palms, pressure in the head, tingling up the spine. The emotional layer purges. Emotions from years ago rise without warning. You'll cry without reason. Get angry at things you thought were long forgiven. Your aura is pushing out what no longer aligns with your new frequency. The mental layer, that's where the war begins. Thoughts loop harder. Old beliefs resist annihilation. But clarity starts breaking through like light through cracked glass. And then there's the spiritual layer. That one expands beyond your comprehension. You might feel moments of bliss, connection to something ancient, cosmic. Your dreams become messages. Your synchronicities multiply. People around you pick up on it, even if they can't explain it. Kids stare. Animals approach. Strangers offer revelations. Some people treat you like a threat. Others confess things they've never told anyone. Because your aura, now amplified, is acting like a tuning fork, shaking loose everything fake in its path. It's not pretty. It's not peaceful. It's not Instagrammable. But it's real. And it's just beginning. Your energy is speaking before you do. And soon, it'll start drawing things to you that were once hidden, or repelling what was never meant to stay. You're not just seeing the world differently. The world is now seeing you differently. And there's a reason for that. Keep going. The most shocking part is still ahead. You ever notice how people start acting weird around you, like they're suddenly unsure of themselves? Conversations feel slightly off. Someone you've known for years avoids eye contact. Another starts opening up to you like you're their therapist. They can't explain why. They just feel something. That's your aura talking before you do. When your energy shifts, it throws people into a subtle panic or a quiet awe, because unconsciously, they're registering something they can't name. Your field has changed, and their nervous system picks it up before their brain can catch up. You've entered the phase where your presence disrupts. It's not about being loud. It's not about preaching. It's about resonance. The higher your frequency climbs, the more pressure it puts on anything operating below it. That pressure is uncomfortable. That's why some people pull back, act cold, even hostile. It's not you. It's what your energy is forcing them to confront in themselves. Others, they get addicted to it. They start orbiting you, drawn in by your field like it's gravity. They don't understand it, but they crave it. Because your aura is beginning to act like a mirror, clearer than they've ever seen. And mirrors don't lie. Your transformation becomes a threat to anyone living in illusion. Friends might ghost. Lovers might crumble. Family dynamics start to rot at the root. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your presence makes pretending impossible. Your aura is no longer neutral. It's a catalyst. You'll notice people confessing things to you without knowing why. Strangers revealing their deepest fears at the bus stop. Old enemies reaching out with strange apologies. They're not responding to you. Not fully. They're responding to the field around you. The one that's now humming with something undeniable. The more aligned you become, the more misaligned things fall away. This is the part no one talks about. The spiritual awakening that fractures. That isolates. That purifies by fire. But there's purpose in it. Because once your aura starts shifting, it doesn't just reflect, it transmits. And what you're about to transmit is what begins drawing your future into place. Not through effort, through frequency. And some things, some people, are already tuning in. You just don't know who yet. Keep watching. This ripple goes deeper. You walk into a room, and the dog that's never liked strangers comes right to you. A baby locks eyes with you and doesn't look away. An empath you've never met before gets visibly overwhelmed just standing next to you. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Because they can feel it too. The moment your aura begins to shift during awakening, you become readable to the sensitives. Empaths, animals, children, they don't need words. They operate on instinct, on energetic truth. And they're the first to notice when something about you becomes louder. You may not even feel different yet, but they do. Empaths especially. You might notice one at work suddenly becoming more attentive around you, or more avoidant. They're not just reacting to your personality. They're reacting to your frequency, to the emotional payload your aura is now carrying. Raw, real, electric. Empaths are like tuning forks themselves. If you're radiating healing, they'll feel comforted. If you're mid, detox, grieving, purging, shedding, they'll feel everything you're leaking. And if your awakening is pushing buried truths to the surface, they'll be the first ones to flinch, or freeze, or walk away without knowing why. Animals don't overthink it. They just come closer, or they bolt. Cats are notorious for sensing subtle shifts in energy fields. If one starts sleeping near you, or avoiding you entirely, it's not random. Dogs may act hyper, alert, overly affectionate, or protective, sensing that you're broadcasting something intense, something alive. Even nature begins to respond differently. Birds landing closer, bugs gathering around your space, trees feeling more alive when you touch them. You're syncing with the pulse of living systems, and living systems notice. But the wildest part is this: you're not doing anything on the surface. You could be standing still, saying nothing, and still be changing the energetic atmosphere. Because your aura has become an open channel, and sensitives are the first receivers. Don't be surprised if people say, "There's just something about you," and then stop, unable to explain it. They don't have the words, but their body knows. You're becoming someone who can't be ignored by the unseen. And that's not always comfortable. Because now, the energy you carry has consequences. Not just for you, but for anyone who steps into your field. This is where the illusion of separation starts to crack. Where it becomes painfully clear that we're all connected, and your awakening is sending ripples through that web. What happens next? It's going to get darker before it gets lighter. But necessary things often do. Everything starts to fall apart. Not just outside of you, but inside. The people who once grounded you now confuse you. The beliefs you build your life on start to taste like lies. And underneath it all, your aura is breaking open, bleeding out the old. Welcome to the purge. The dark night of the aura isn't poetic. It's violent in its silence. It's when your energy field starts ripping away the layers you never chose, the ones you inherited, absorbed, or built to survive. And those layers don't go quietly. You'll feel it in your body first. Crushing fatigue, random waves of nausea, sensations of heat or pressure in places you've never noticed before. Not because you're sick, but because your field is trying to detox faster than your mind can process. Emotions surge like storms. You cry in public. You wake up enraged. You feel empty for no reason. The aura is excavating. Not gently, but completely. And here's the thing no one warns you about. This is when the shadows crawl out. Old fears you thought you'd outgrown. Shame you forgot you buried. Guilt that doesn't even feel like yours. Your aura stores trauma. Energetic impressions. Contracts you made in moments of weakness. During awakening, they all come to the surface, not to punish you, but to be burned. And it feels like loss. Because it is. Loss of identity. Of illusion. Of the comfort that came from not knowing. But here's what's really happening. Your energy field is shedding density. Vibrationally, you're becoming lighter. And that light, at first, hurts. Think of staring at the sun after years in a cave. You'll start to repel people who once praised you. You'll become allergic to certain environments. Your skin might crawl in old spaces. Your body becomes an antenna. And suddenly, noise, lights, emotions, they all hit harder. This is the rawest phase. But if you can survive it, if you don't numb it, escape it, or sedate it, your aura begins to stabilize in a way that's permanent. You become clean. Not perfect. Not pure, but true. And that's when your energy stops reacting and starts commanding. But first, everything false has to die. That's the price of this kind of light. And you're already paying it. You've probably heard it before. Everything is energy. But that phrase hits different when you realize your very presence is pulsing with measurable frequency. Not metaphor, not mysticism. Physics. Your aura isn't just spiritual fluff, it's electric. And during a spiritual awakening, that current spikes. Scientists call it the biofield. Quantum theorists talk about torsion fields and morphic resonance. But ancient mystics knew it long before machines could measure it. Your thoughts, your emotions, your very intentions radiate, and they bend reality. This is where it gets real. When your frequency shifts high enough, you start to vibrate out of sync with collective programming. You disconnect from the low-level static of fear, control, shame. Your signal becomes clearer, sharper, more specific. And that's when the universe starts responding to you. You think of someone, and they text you. You feel a warning, and something tells you to turn left instead of right. You speak a desire, and doors open without force. Not because you're special, but because your aura has become a magnet tuned to a higher harmonic. Frequencies don't lie. You can't fake this part. You can post about it. You can talk about it. But if your energy doesn't match it, nothing sticks. The field doesn't care about image. It only mirrors truth. Your aura, post-awakening, becomes a transmitter, a beacon. It calls in only what resonates, and it repels what doesn't, violently, sometimes. That's why you lose people.
A quick message. This space has become something truly special for many of us. A community of people on a shared journey of spiritual growth, healing, and awakening. Your comments and stories inspire me every day, and it's clear there's so much more we can create together, especially since this path can feel lonely at times. That's why we've created a spiritual space on Patreon, a sanctuary for deeper connection, exclusive content, and meaningful conversations with others from this channel who share your journey. Together, we can build something uplifting, authentic, and spiritually powerful. If this resonates with you and you'd like to be part of something bigger, whatever you're going through, you'll find the link in the description or pinned in the comments. Your membership not only helps support the channel, but also helps grow this beautiful community. Let's create something amazing together.
That's why things fall apart before they align. Because the field is cleansing itself of distortion. You'll start to feel it when you speak. Certain words carry a different weight now. Some conversations become unbearable. Others crackle with electricity. You'll sense when someone's energy is off before they say a word. And more importantly, they'll sense you. The body has over 70 trillion cells, each emitting its own frequency. During awakening, the coherence between them increases. You're no longer fragmented. You're becoming harmonic. And harmonic energy creates impact without force. You're no longer trying to influence. You just do. But here's the wild part. The more stable your aura becomes, the less effort you need to manifest. The more aligned you are, the faster energy bends to meet you. That's the power people feel when you walk in. That's why silence feels louder around you. That's why synchronicity becomes your new language. And it's only getting stronger. Because this isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before the noise. And now the field is clearing, ready to amplify whatever you choose to become. You're starting to notice it now. How things come to you. How paths open without warning. How people say, I was just thinking about you, and show up right when you need them. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's magnetism. This is the phase where your aura stops collapsing inward and begins expanding outward. You're no longer surviving. You're starting to attract. When your aura stabilizes after the purge, it doesn't go back to what it was. It doesn't shrink. It dominates. It stretches past your body, sometimes for feet, sometimes for yards. And in that field, reality starts to bend. Your thoughts imprint more quickly. Your emotions shape outcomes. Synchronicities don't trickle, they cascade. You think it, feel it, believe it, and it starts forming. You become magnetic, not in the charming sense, but in the quantum one. Because the universe doesn't speak words. It speaks frequency. And your frequency is now refined. Your aura is no longer clogged with static, shame, or second guessing. It's clean. And clean fields pull. That's why people come to you with opportunities. Why you meet the right person in the most random place. Why ideas flow and time bends and science starts shouting instead of whispering. The more aligned you are with your core, the more precise your aura becomes. And precision is power. But here's the paradox. The more magnetic you become, the less you chase, the less you strive. Because your field does the work. And that's when the old world starts to feel slow, dull, dead. It's not that you've outgrown it. It's that you're not in it anymore. Your frequency has shifted timelines. You walk through the same streets, but the people are different. You hear the same words, but the meanings change. Reality reconfigures around your signal. You're not forcing life to bend. You're becoming someone life bends toward. And the further your aura expands, the more you'll see everything you were taught was backward. You were never meant to shrink to fit. You were meant to expand until the world had to meet you. You've barely scratched the surface of what this field can do. But now, it's alive, awake, activated. And it's about to get louder. Now that your aura is radiating like a frequency tower, you start to notice something else. You're wide open. And not everything that comes toward you is light. Because with expansion comes exposure. When your energy field grows, it becomes a beacon for the aligned and the unhealed. You'll draw in the inspired, the seekers, the visionaries. But you'll also attract the needy, the siphons, the ones who feed on open channels. That's why boundaries aren't optional anymore. They're energetic armor. Your aura isn't a shield by default. It's a transmitter. And unless you learn to consciously protect and regulate it, you'll burn out fast. You'll start to feel it as physical heaviness after certain conversations, mental fog after spending time with specific people, a sudden sense of dread in places you used to enjoy. That's your aura taking on too much, absorbing, bleeding out energy without a valve. You need grounding, not as a spiritual cliche, but as energetic necessity. Touching earth, slowing breath, getting silent. These aren't rituals anymore. They're life support. Your body is the anchor for your field. If you float too far without grounding, you scatter, dissociate, drain. And you've worked too hard to leak now. You'll also need to learn how to say no not just with words, but with energy. A firm aura doesn't apologize for protecting itself. It doesn't dim to avoid making others uncomfortable. You might lose people in this phase who can't handle your full wattage. That's fine. The people who belong in your field won't just tolerate your boundaries. They'll respect them. You're also going to have to release the savior complex. Just because you can feel what others need doesn't mean it's your job to heal it. Your light isn't a rescue mission. It's an invitation. When you start protecting your aura, it starts refining again. Stronger, cleaner, sharper. You become someone whose energy is impossible to manipulate. And that changes everything. The right people start arriving, not to take, but to co-create. The right paths reveal themselves, not to test you, but to meet you. This is the part where your energy field becomes sovereign. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're sculpting it. And the clearer your boundaries, the louder your aura becomes. Because what's coming next, it only flows to those who are fully aligned and fully guarded. There's a moment after the burning, the shedding, the isolation. When it hits you, you're not pretending anymore. You're not wearing the mask, not shrinking to make others comfortable, not performing some polished version of yourself that fits the mold. You're just you, fully, finally. And it shows. Your aura isn't fractured or volatile anymore. It's coherent, strong, precise. It no longer reflects confusion, pain, or self-doubt. Now, it projects. Now, it leads. This is what alignment feels like. You'll notice people responding to your presence before you speak. Eyes linger. Rooms go quiet. You're not chasing influence. It just happens. Because energy doesn't ask permission. It moves. It commands. You'll find that when you speak, your words carry weight. Not because you're louder, but because your frequency is clean. You're not trying to convince anyone of anything. You're simply expressing truth, and truth lands. It cuts. It frees. And when you walk away from what no longer resonates, there's no guilt. There's just clarity. You're not here to belong to broken systems. You're here to embody a different one. People start to call you things: grounded, glowing, magnetic, intense. They say, you feel different. They're right. Because now your aura has memory. It carries everything you've survived, everything you've reclaimed, and everything you've stepped into. And people can feel that story, even if they don't know it. You start attracting others on the same path. The real ones. The raw ones. Not because you need them to complete you, but because your energy invites them. Not from lack, from overflow. This is how your aura becomes a beacon. Not just for people, but for purpose. You'll notice life organizing itself around your presence. You don't force alignment. You become it. And everything false naturally falls away. But here's the part no one can prepare you for. You'll never be able to go back. Not to the old you. Not to the small talk. Not to the roles you used to play. You become someone whose very being rewrites the room. And the people who find you now, they're not just finding you. They're finding themselves reflected in your light. Because you've stepped into a frequency that doesn't just transform your life, it transforms everything it touches. And there's one final truth you're about to understand. The world doesn't change when you awaken. It changes when you embody it. You've changed the room. Every room. Without trying. People pause when you enter, not because of how you look, but because of how you feel. Your aura walks in before you do. And whether they can name it or not, they feel you. That was the point all along. The spiritual awakening wasn't about becoming someone new. It was about remembering who you were before the fear, before the programming, before the world told you who to be. Now your energy speaks louder than words. It tells the truth. It cuts through noise. And it pulls the real ones in like a magnet. Your aura has become your language, your boundary, your offering. And the people who meet you here, they don't just see you. They recognize you. Because frequency doesn't lie. Now you understand why they reacted the way they did. Why some disappeared. Why others lit up in your presence. You weren't just evolving, you were becoming impossible to ignore. That's what happens when you return to your natural vibration. When your energy is no longer distorted by who you think you should be. You've become clarity. And clarity shakes things. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to explain your transformation. Just standing in your truth is the revolution. And this is where the real magic begins. Because when you own your aura, when you stand in the full frequency of your awakening, without apology, you become a living signal. Not just to people, to purpose, to timing, to the unfolding of everything that was waiting for you to finally show up as yourself. This is the new blueprint. You're not chasing light anymore. You are the light. And they feel it. Now you know why they paused, why they stared, why something in their body whispered they're different now. It was never just about you changing. It was about what your change activates in others. Your aura, fully awake, doesn't just exist. It interferes. It interrupts the script. It breaks illusions by simply being. That's why people confess things around you. Why old patterns break when you enter the conversation. Why silence feels charged and eye contact becomes uncomfortable. For some, unbearable. You've become a living contradiction in a world addicted to numbness. Your presence reminds people of what they forgot. That energy never lies. That truth can be felt. And that the soul is louder than the voice. That's why you couldn't go back, even if you tried. Your field has rewritten itself. It no longer tolerates dissonance, deception, or delay. It attracts the real, the raw, the resonant. And now, you're no longer reacting to the shift. You are the shift. The world feels you before it sees you. Your aura has weight now, direction, impact. And it speaks in a language older than words, a language everything around you instinctively understands. You've stepped out of the role you were assigned and into the frequency you were born for. And the field around you reflects that. Through synchronicity, through alignment, through the effortless arrival of what used to feel out of reach. You didn't just awaken. You recalibrated reality. And here's the final truth. It was never just your transformation. Everyone who crosses your path now feels it. Everyone who enters your field is affected. You're not just changing your life. You're shifting the lives of those around you, whether they understand it or not. This isn't the end. It's the transmission. And it's already begun. So here you are, radiating in a way that can't be undone. You're not louder, but you're undeniable. You're not trying harder, but you're unmistakable. Your aura carries a signature now, one that marks you as someone who remembers. People won't always understand it. Some will misread you. Some will resist you. That's not your burden. Your field isn't here to be palatable. It's here to be true. And the ones who are meant to walk with you, they'll feel it before you speak. This is what embodiment really means. You don't need to explain your path anymore. You are the path. You're proof that transformation isn't theory. It's lived, breathed, radiated. Every wound you faced, every shadow you integrated, every layer you stripped away, it wasn't wasted. It recalibrated your signal. It made your aura strong enough to hold what's coming next. And what's coming isn't random. Now that your energy is clean, your timeline is too. The right people, the right purpose, the right place, they're not goals anymore. They're consequences. They're inevitable when your frequency is aligned. So let them feel it. Let them wonder why they can't stop thinking about you. Let them question why your silence is louder than their noise. You've stepped into the kind of presence that shifts dynamics just by entering a room. The kind of aura that opens doors without knocking. The kind of energy that doesn't just change conversations. It changes people. Because now they know, even if they can't explain it, you've awakened. And your aura never went back to sleep.